of the map. Cure is finding some units here, gets a slightly positive trade. But look at this, both bases under attack here for Cure. This planetary is going to go down. He's not repairing it.
Yeah, and those siege tanks are actually naked. There's no medevacs here. There's no Marines to actually help them out. So that would be easy pickings for Cure, but he's trying to push forward to get some additional damage. Killing those on the high ground doesn't matter now that his planetary's gone.
Yeah, you can just leave those there. I mean, it means that the only thing that means for now is that he can't replace the CC. So I guess now that this attack was shut down by the sensor tower alone, basically, from TY, he will come back to this. I'm actually sacrificing Marines for the splash damage here in order to clean it up. You know, I guess one of the...
the Marine on the low ground gets the medevac. I love it.
Well, the funniest way to
clean
clean
up
up
tanks. Did you forget about me? Like, oh, man.
+2 for tanks is done for both players now. Tank upgrades never as important as Marine upgrades, but +3 for TY is almost finished, and that will give him some edges in these fights when it comes to dealing with tank versus tank.
Oh, certainly, yeah. And don't forget that splash damage of the Marines really kind of funks up the math. If you do have more Marines, the tanks dealing that splash damage can mess up everything for you. But we have TY dropping again into the main base, just kind of hitting onto the production some. Now, let's not forget, he's got a much better economy because he's been killing command centers and SCVs for a while. A
whole medevac full of Marines just got sniped. He has to commit to these tank drops here. Kira does, and he's going to just drop right on top of these siege tanks. He's got the supporting Marines now, and TY needs to hightail it out of there, saving several of his units. Oh no, a small group here from Kira going to be obliterated as well, and TY is starting to get too much of a lead here.
The multitasking of TY, again off the hook, like moving out the second he's dropping somewhere. Kira is bringing back big chunks of army to try to deal with the drop, and then losing another chunk of the army out in the middle of the map, not even microing it. So TY kind of outdoing it. Look at this, pulling his siege tanks back as they're hit. Just beautiful out of TY.
GG.
Just fantastic.
TY really running literal circles around Cure in that mid to late game there. Cure never able to touch TY. He had sensor towers in position every time. TY's engagements in the middle of the map were mostly favorable for him. He always got the better exchanges there. And I think the real story of that game is Cure was never able to put any hard pressure on TY, whereas TY was either at his 4th planetary with tanks on the high ground or in his main base.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, if you've got your opponent in your main base killing your production, you can't even produce units.
This blows my mind, like, how well TY played this. The fact that, like, here, he got the air control right away. Now, luckily, TY did get that little drop off early, but Kira was the one out on the map with some siege tanks kind of controlling the map, keeping TY back. That's what TY does every single game in TVT. That's what he wants to do. He wants to kind of be aware of where you're at. It's one of the strongest things, but this game is like, okay, Kira, you can have that. And then he just comes over the top and wrecks him. Like, TY's play, this guy is just unbelievably too good.
Yeah, I feel like that whole game for TY was like watching a giant strongman, like Caldor or something, swing a hammer, and like the apex of the hammer, he got to the top there, and that was when he got to the base, and then he like slammed the hammer down with full force on top of Curie. Everything about him was like crumbling apart. He like was broken. He lost too many bases. He couldn't produce units. And
that's it. I see exactly what you're saying. Like, TY is basically a weightlifter, a gymnast, and a professor of mathematics all rolled into one.
Absolutely, Artos. Let's go into Orbital Shipyard for game number 2 to see if we can continue the streak.
In the bottom left, losing that first game, but still playing very well. And I do want to double underscore that. TY did look fantastic, but Cure looked really good and kept up with TY for most of that game. That game doesn't necessarily mean TY just wins.
Yeah, sure. Up to the top. Speaking of the man himself.
I just keep talking nonstop. We can't ever introduce anything in. Yeah, man. That, like, definitely still could go either way, but, you know, TY making a convincing argument that he is the winner of this match in game number 1.
Sure. I'm wondering when we're going to see, like, I feel like if we see it, it's going to be out of TY, or excuse me, out of Cure. Like T-Rex, Reaper, even a Proxy Marauder could sneak in. Even Proxy Banshee is like something like that.
Sure.
It's not going to be on game 2 here, it looks like, but definitely something I want to see out of Cure in this series. And I know a lot of people listening to this are probably thinking, well, it's TY. Like, he'll never die to pressure. He's never going to die to an all-in. But I feel like Cure and Maru have probably cooked up a few builds like this where they've seen exactly like where TY keeps his Reapers on the high ground, you know, where he likes to build turrets. When he cuts turrets, like last game, for example, he had a late eBay and cut turrets, so he didn't have, you know, much to defend that Banshee. Like his Raven came out just in time to really save him there. Builds like that to get ahead for Cure, I think is going to be his way to beat TY in the series. Like getting little tempo advantages and then like eventually just whittling TY down. Because if TY gets to the late game, I mean, he just outplayed Cure in the first game. He outplayed Dream in the late game 3 times. I think that's his strongest point. I think Cure needs to try to stop that in its tracks.
Yeah, yeah. You know, TY, like the way he's playing recently really does remind me of Zest, where it seems like this flawless version of StarCraft where, like for instance, where is the first place Cure like fell behind in that game? It was that drop, that big drop from TY, when he already had air control. But that won't happen to TY because when he's ready to kind of be out in the map and could be vulnerable, sensor towers are up. Bam.
3 of them in that last game.
Didn't see as much of a committal to the sensor towers from Cure, you know, something like that. So,
yeah, his sensor tower also that was covering that sort of part of the main was placed in such a way that it didn't get coverage until like the last second, where it was already too late to actually have his units come back and be in position.
Yes.
Oh, proxy starport from TY. Did not expect him to be the aggressor, but this is like the wolf rule. When you're ahead in game 2, that's when you do the proxy. Like.
Proxy starport, man. And let's not forget, we were talking too much because we're too hyped about like you know how great that game was and maybe what we'll see going forward. But TY like hid the racks inside of his base. Cure started to leave the base, then went back just to double check. Now that's a great player, Cure, being tough enough to be like, okay, this makes me look a little bit dumb, but I got to go back and double check right there. But like that's something that if he hadn't gone back to double check, and many Terrans would not have, suddenly TY has an edge there. So like. The entire mind game that's going on is going to TY right now, including, look at this, the full wall in with that hidden starport.
Back at that starport, the SCB has stayed there, which is kind of interesting. It looks like he really just doesn't want to leave anything to chance. Like he doesn't want to have Cure scout an SCB going out at a weird angle, so he's just going to keep the SCB there. The starport is researching Cloak. There's no turret here for Cure whatsoever. He's actually kind of cutting some corners, actually, as he's going for a Widowmine Marine drop.
Yeah.
He can start 2 Vikings right now, and I think he really should. If he doesn't, he's going to be in big trouble.
He probably will. He's been practicing with Maru, and I believe he did just, he moved this over to the reactor. So that's a very Maru thing, and I love to see, and I love that TY pointed out in the interview that Cure practices a lot, and his style changes a lot because of it. And that's a very flexible, awesome player in Cure, to be able to come into this series and say, hey, I learned a lot from Maru, and here it is.
I think that's why he dominated Hero as well, you know, in the round of 8, because he has studied and really prepared well for how Hero's playing specifically. This Widowmine here going to give a little bit of support to these Marines. He targets down the Hellion first, smart choice, but even this regular mode tank is going to be enough to to just push this back, stop it in its tracks. The first Banshee is out. He's pulled it, and there's going to be a second Banshee here. Now, these Banshees will one-shot Marines. If Cure doesn't, well, one-shot Marines or SCVs. I meant to say SCVs. But if these Banshees are, like, there's no scan for them and there's no turret, I mean, this could do a ton of damage. Looks like he's going to send this first one now.
Yeah, I think he was just waiting for Cloak to finish rather than send it at the same time. I love the choice to stifle them here. You know, it's going to be really hard and taxing on his scans to get them both. And
yeah, it's going to split them like DTs.
And in fact, look at this. He uses a scan here that was a poor scan. It pushes everything off the DTs, but now the next one comes in. He's about to have scan number 2. But obviously, scan number 2 is not enough to kill 2 Banshees.
Yeah, so he kills the first one. He's actually going to go for a tank here like this because the medevac is actually keeping the SCVs alive. He's not being able to 2-shot them.
Yeah, now it keeps the tank alive as well. Yeah. Medevac's pretty good.
Well, he damaged that second tank. The Cloak will run out. But look at this. He's pressuring at the front.
Oh, man.
And Cure is just getting bopped right now. Like, he's being shut down. He has, like, 2 siege tanks, so they need to be in position. Okay, there it goes. It finally pushes that away. The Banshee survives, meanwhile, because he's so flustered.
That's the exact word of what he is. He is flustered as hell right now.
And there's a second or actually really the third Banshee coming in. A 4th Banshee is on the way. This is just too much. This is too much damage. Like, back at home, he's 20 splat. He has a 3rd base at the 3rd base location, finished and about to start mining.
Look, the most impressive, awesome thing here, he pressured with the Marine tank, and then turned around and went home. Like, he's like, no, look, all his units are there trying to defend. I'll walk up, get one additional reactor, maybe a supply depot, then I'll just go home with the units. It's like, no one would do that. No one would do that. It's so good.
Yeah,
you never see a move like that.
He also is making a second starport and not sending his starport home because he knows Cure has to counterattack right now, right? Because he knows there's a third base up. And he's going to bring his Vikings, otherwise he can't get anything done. But these Vikings are now no longer at home for the next Banshee that's going to come out. Oh, man, just getting the sickest chills. It is so rare to have a player like this in this game, just showing like the complete beauty behind the strategy and tactics that you can use. This is not just him macroing or microing well. This is the full package in TY right now. But now Cure is finally like, as Sojung likes to say when she translates, he's grabbed hold of his mental, okay? Like he's actually like now in position doing damage. He shut down that Banshee with a beautiful scan, only took one this time. He's using these Vikings, he's controlling the air to allow this push to happen. TY is going to flank. Let's see how he reacts. Oh, a late reaction here.
Oh my God. And that was a great catch by TY. Again, maybe Cure just not looking at his units at that 1 second. But it was a great move by Cure. And again, that one was definitely Maru influence as well. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like he really was starting to grasp hold of this game for a second there, but losing those 2 tanks takes all of his pressure away. And here's that late Banshee. Going to kill 3 mules here at least.
Full mules, too. Brand spanking new mules. So that really hurts. Ends up getting a couple of them moving in here. Going to be able to pick off SCVs that are building buildings. The non-stop Banshee play out of control here.
Yeah, I mean, I love this choice. Just make a second starport. He knows he's that ahead.
Yeah.
That he can just keep making Banshees off of this first starport. This Banshee flies out of the scan. It was a horrible scan.
This scan was really bad.
That was a horrible scan.
Like, this is, Cure is like, it feels frantic, his play right now. His Viking is not even next to the Banshee. Even if it is, it doesn't kill the Banshee, okay? You need 3 to kill it if you scan on the Banshee.
Yeah, I almost feel like he was like saying, I almost feel like that scan was to protect the SCV to finish the turret because he was like,
it might have been.
Like,
it could have been. Like, that makes a lot more sense than anything else I could come up with, so.
I mean, I feel like he had, like his mind was in the right place like a second ago when he was harassing, but now he's lost control of like his play. Like you said, it's frantic.
Yeah.
He seems desperate in every move.
Yeah, this is what a series that we have so far. Like the clinic that TY is putting on. Like I saw a tweet from Nathanius. I know it's tomorrow right now, Nathanius, and you're watching this. And you want to be inspired. If you're not inspired by this TY play, go play some League, man, because this is sick. This is like blowing my mind how good this kid is.
Yeah. Finally, moments later. Minutes later, he finds damage to this starport, forces it to lift, and pushes it away. As he's been dealing with so much other attacks and also trying to counter pressure himself. Though, most important thing here for Cure, and I think the only redeeming factor for him in this game, is he has like a defender's advantage versus any more attacks that come across. And in a mirror matchup, if you max out, you always have a chance to win no matter what your opponent's economy is. So Cure just needs to kind of hunker down, turtle up for a moment here, try to get a fourth base, and he still has an opportunity because TY didn't follow up and kill him. Like someone like Morrow or like old school IM MVP would have killed after that much of an advantage, even on like a bigger map than this. Like he would have killed on Tall Dream Alter cross spawns or like Terminus Re, okay? Like MVP era, but TY's not that kind of guy. He doesn't take risks. He doesn't do follow-up attacks. So Cure has time to get back into this game.
Yeah, TY definitely is very methodical, and like he's been 20 army supply up for quite a while now. But the higher supply you get, the less that 20 means. Yeah. So definitely, you know, this is kind of what we saw against Dream on Laralac. Oh, no, it was Runes of Saris in Game 3, where it was like he kind of let him back in because you're very right. You know, as you max out, like you definitely have a chance. And the supply is getting a lot closer right now. Yeah. I mean, that's a great snipe right there. But the game is not over. As much as I'm fawning over TY's plays because they are fantastic, Cure has stabilized at this point. It's not like he's taking any additional damage right now. He's got a solid army.
He has air control as well. 4 Vikings
he does.
out on the map.
But I think the big problem is that he has like half as many siege tanks.
Exactly. So he needs to use those Vikings really well in order to take a fight. He's going to try to go for a drop, but it's TY. He has a turret and a siege tank sieged up in the main. Not going to find much damage here. All right, Cure is looking for a fight here. Scans, he's not confident enough. May grab a tank here in the main, not a significant amount of damage, but he's trying to use these Vikings. He's trying to say this is Wings of Liberty, like put the tanks on the ground, TY. And he's trying to he's trying to move up forward here, bait these Marines with the Vikings.
Nice snipe there on one Viking. I like the trying moves like that, because as soon as you get the Vikings, that would hurt Kier more than normal, because Kier is trying to be offensive. He really needs these Vikings, and you know, he really wants to be dropping his mules right now to try to keep up his economy. Using those scans is, you know, it's a tough call.
Yeah, it really is. TY has had such a lead in this game that he's finally like decided, okay, you're really trying to push this issue, and I will not be broken. You only have one Viking here now, and he's actually going to go for a counterattack. Now, Kier does have a sensor tower this time. He sees the counterattack, and I think he's kind of freaked out by it. He's really committing here.
What I just saw, like TY had one siege tank on either side, and it was like watching someone get brave to like step their foot into a cold pool.
Yeah.
Watching Kier try to kill that one siege tank, and eventually did it, and he's like, "Oh, okay, that wasn't so bad."
Yeah, that was a great. That's actually a great analogy. That's exactly what we witnessed. I think he was really panicking about that counterattack because he started moving forward. Once he saw the edge of it, he didn't know how many Marines were over there. And then he was like, oh, okay, it's only like a small group of Marines can deal with that. Wow, this is a bit of a crazy commitment here, but he has some other siege tanks in this zone.
Wow.
That was a really snap decision. That was really smart by Kier.
Yeah, you got to be really decisive in TVT, and that was definitely a decisive move that definitely paid off, I would say. You want to trade some Marines for some siege tanks if you can. Of course, not too many that you can get run over, but he's you know, that's not what's going to happen.
In that zone, he just had like double the siege tanks in that firing range, so he just used that superior firepower for just one moment to snipe some tanks. And now, you know, he's got, he had for like just a moment a lead in supply. With all the units TY is making, he will, you know, max out. But at this moment, like on this zone of the map, he has control and he is moving forward. TY though, going for a counterattack here, going to grab a refinery.
Well, kind of a nice move, but the real story is up at TY's front third base, I guess we're going to call this, the front end natural. And I mean, Kier is trying to push in. There's so many sensor towers that TY sees all this movement. So I'm not sure if Kier can break in, but he is going to try it. Dropping his siege tanks. The Marines actually a little bit behind, but they do come up.
And this is how you beat a Terran in TVT, is you control the ramp. If you control the ramp, no reinforcements are coming out of there. Meanwhile, a planetary will be killed by Marines. It looks like he's trying to repair that, trying to keep it alive. It will eventually go down, but this means now TY is going to stuck in his main base for a little while until he can break this, because his ramp is in siege tank range. He also has a Viking there for air control, so he can move a little bit more forward.
Just fantastic play out of both of these players. TY, like, he's taking a lot of damage right now. This is very tough. He's definitely behind, but picking off that command center is worth more than you might think. Even though we look at this huge army advantage, this huge positional advantage, that was the one really mining base of Kier. Yeah, he still has his third, but he's having to flow over to a new fourth now.
All right, looks like TY is now going to use these tank effects to try to break out. He's moved over to the left side. Kier not responding immediately, and even one cloaked Banshee is going to allow him to push this back, and he has retaken his ramp. Very important. In TVT, if you get tanks on top of the ramp, you can never go down until you move those off.
That's very true, and to break siege tanks can be very annoying. By the way, that cloaked Banshee, absolutely love, but we'll talk about that later. Dropping these siege tanks up here, trying to get some damage done. Oh man, that was in between two sets of siege tanks with Stim Marines at the ready.
That was not the engage he was looking for. He was trying to do another one of those siege tank snaps where he's got the better number in that zone, but he didn't see the tanks on the left side. Looks like he wants to commit to this base at the top left, but he's having commitment issues. TY sees every movement with the center tower, and it looks like he's just going to walk out of that range and move across to another side.
He's having a hard time with this, moving through all this vision. Look at this TY catching some of these units as they come up. A lot of free Marines there for TY, just losing a couple siege tanks.
I feel like in this matchup, sometimes when we get to this point, it's almost like I'm watching two guys with pistols in an old Western movie about to draw, because it's like who drops the tanks first, and like who has the faster reflexes can oftentimes be who gets a positive trade or not. These tanks sieging up late, TY going to pick off 4 for basically free.
That's awesome. Going to get some Marines here as well. Has his Cloak Banshee, has the air control with Vikings also. Doing a great job here. He was down 40 army supply moments ago, but again, he had more mining bases. He secured his main base. He never really lost anything in there, and it's really paying off as he pushes into this fourth.
Oh man, TY, oh look at all those Marines funneled and stuck together. TY is going to get such a good engage here. Well, as it turns out, there's more tanks on the ground, more Kier covered by all those medevacs, but this engage again is TY controlling the map. Like he's on top of the base, he's stopping mining again. TY's base, he's even got that base out at 3 o'clock that's totally uncontested. Kira is never able to be the one to put pressure on TY. He had control of his ramp for just moments. And the second TY breaks out, he's running loose all over the map.
Well, TY having him back up right now. His 5th base is over on this side of the map. I absolutely love that choice. If he's pushing over here, that's already defense for that base. So doing a great job here, rallying down more. And again, it's quite neck and neck, but we have a better economy for TY. This is what we keep seeing. Like, maybe he has a slightly smaller army than Cure, but he has that better economy and can continue to make a huge amount of units.
TY, I feel, has really improved a lot on what we saw him do in the late game versus Dream on Saris. Like, he's actually doing really decisive, aggressive moves while ahead now. Not as aggressive earlier, but like he's sieging up bases. He's moving across the map with all of his army and really forcing Cure to be on the responsive. Now, it's hard to say exactly who's ahead in tanks right now, but I think it's Cure briefly. And with TY's economy, he's making 2 tanks at a time. He's got the better Marine production.
Yeah, he's even making Vikings, so he has that air control still, and he's working on making it even bigger. Also, by the way, this is a new tactic that I'm seeing out of TY. He oftentimes has 1 tank siege in front of the other ones, and that's actually done a lot for him. It's like a scout siege tank that kind of scares your opponent and keeps him back. Yeah. Really cool stuff.
And if he loses, it's not the end of the world.
No.
And Cure's like always having to methodically pick those off.
Yeah. And I mean, it's slowing him down. It lets TY know when he has to start scanning is when you start going after that 1 siege tank.
This is looking like a chess move right now, what Cure's trying to do, though. He's like really trying to force the important issue here. He's trying to, you know, capture the queen again. He's trying to get on top of the ramp. Like, he's trying to take away the reinforcing power and then stomp the smaller army from TY. Meanwhile, TY having the better harass here. He's going to kill an orbital.
That was his natural expansions command center, by the way. So he is sitting on 2 command centers right now.
And
both
only one's mining.
Yeah.
One's mining, that's it.
Cure's economy is not going to keep up for long. Sure, his army's strong. He's making strong moves as well. Like, as far as army movements, he's doing as well with the bulk of it as TY is, but TY consistently with this harassment, whereas Cure isn't doing the same.
Cure finally does retake this orbital, and he's also making a CC to the bottom right, because he knows he can't end the game right now, so it's not like he's just going to go, oh, well, I guess I have no economy, that's it. He does have to eventually remake that. And over time, because he has less SCVs, he will have the stronger maxed out army. But this is a position game right now. 1 tank gets sniped here, a few Marines going down as well. TY getting a better exchange. It looks like he wants to commit to a fight. Meanwhile, he's going to catch a lot of this army over here. Cure not paying attention.
Really brutal for Cure to lose those units right now. And Cure GG's.
He lost the units at the top off screen as well. He just got totally dominated there. And he has no economy left to speak of. TY on a roll here, taking the first 2 wins.
Just such good play, man. Like, TY, unbelievable. Cure even fights back really strongly. Cure's TVT looks, I'm getting chills. It looks so good. It looks like one of the best TVTs in the world for sure, I would say. But, I mean, damn, TY really knows exactly where to press things. Like, he starts, right? Like, we have Cure getting into a great position. As you were saying, he's controlling that ramp. That's a tough spot for TY. But what does TY do? Instantly kills a Cure base.
Yeah, like, we can see, like, stylistically between these 2 players, what Cure values is the production and getting into the main base and trying to, like, capture the HQ, whereas TY wants to kill the economy. I mean, we saw in game number 1, like, he did go in and do that Doom drop. It was a different map, but in game 2, he showed us something very different. Like, he's, like, always trying to snipe CCs. He knows the Cure doesn't have that many sensor towers, so he's trying to hit the economy, whereas Cure is really focused on, like, hitting home and destroying the economy and, like, just wiping out TY's army and winning, like, in one fell swoop, whereas TY is more patient, trying to slowly take over the map.
I think that's a really good point to bring up. Some people want to do like the Doom Drop style, win in that one fell swoop, you know, make the one big move and then the game's over. And that's how most of your games are going to go on the ladder. But at this very top level that TY is playing at, he wants to kill you through 1,000 paper cuts because he knows the longer the game goes, the more mistakes you're going to make and the more times he's going to have a chance to get ahead of you.
Absolutely agree. I think that's really going to be the story of this series. You know, like, can Cure find that, like, one blow to cut off the head of TY, or is TY, like you said beautifully, 1,000 paper cuts?
All right, guys. 2-0 TY right now. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we get to see, can Cure fight back in this best of 7?
Times that I've seen you lose your way, you're not in control, and you won't be told. All I can do to keep you safe safe is hold you close till you can breathe on your own. Till you can breathe on your own. Hold tight, you're slowly coming back to life. I've been giving you hell, I've been giving you hell, darling. Let go of all your haunted dreams tonight. I've been giving you hell, I've been giving you hell.
언제나 있는 그대로의 맑고 깨끗함을 지켜가라고. 겨울을 잊은 강물이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성 사이다.
비트에 몸을 맡겨라.
새로운 영웅은 언제나 환영이야.
오버워치 5월 24일 출시. 예약 구매로 누구보다 빠르게 친구와 오픈 베타에 접속하세요.
거기 당신 내 이야기 들어볼래? 아주 오래된 얘기를 해줄게. 깊이 잠들었던 아기 비명을 지르며 저 어둠 속에서 자라나고 있지. 고대 신의 속삭임이.
안녕하세요. 달이 빛나는 밤의 문규리입니다. 오늘 소개해드릴 음악, 스웨덴 출신의 싱어송라이터 토브로의 신곡입니다. 토브로의 신곡은 국내에는 5월에 개봉 예정인 다이버전트 시리즈의 세 번째 이야기, 얼리전트의 타이틀 싱글이기도 한데요. 개봉 전이라서 아직 보지 못했지만 어쩌면 영화보다 더 오랫동안 기억에 남을 음반이 될 수도 있을 것 같습니다. 토브로의 목소리가 조금은 차갑고 음울하게 느껴져서 일렉트로닉 계열의 악기들과 굉장히 잘 어울리는데요. 세븐 라이온즈의 스트레인저스, 알레소의 히어로즈, 이어스 앤 이어스의 디자이어스, 콜드플레이의 펀 같은 곡에서도 그녀의 매력을 느낄 수가 있습니다. 사실 이 노래는 상처에 대해서 독백을 하듯이 읊조리듯이 시작하기 때문에 차분해지는 새벽 시간에 듣기에 더없이 좋은데요. 여러분도 함께 들어보시죠. 토브로의 Scars.
Scars we carry with memories burned by the dark. Try to see clearly, tears we bury in vain, 'cause the pain got us falling apart. Try to see clearly, now let the healing start. The fire's out of guns, we keep it in our hearts. We're like 1,000 suns. Ooh yeah, every day step by step, we dare to love again. And if we lose our grip, meet you at the end. Know the cut in your deep, feel the scars in your sleeve. What didn't kill us made us stronger. Stories left on our skin, with them, with everything. What didn't kill us made us stronger. Don't feel lonely. Loneliness kills all the thrill from standing alone. Try to see clearly. Now let the heat Max, du zahlst das allerletzte Mal die Miete für mich mit. Kein Bock auf meine Lügen und mein Leben auf Kredit.
오랜만에 밖에 나오니까 날씨도 너무 좋은 것 같아요.
Die Nacht war lang und ich ein bisschen breit. Das sind die Dinge, die mich auch stören. Ich kriege scheinbar irgendwie den Hals nicht voll. Die Dinge, die mich auch stören. Ich bin total daneben und das Maß
초코우유를
ist
자주
voll.
먹는데
Ich würde damit aufhören. Doch ich weiß nicht, wo ich damit anfangen soll.
저랑 같이 걸으실래요?
Might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she said, you can take a break.
Hot 6 GSL Season 1 Quadrants.
Welcome back to the GSL Codes. Game on camera suddenly there, but TY is on a roll. 2-0. Cure's starting to look a little bit flustered in that second game. I'm worried for him in this long best of 7 if he can, keep himself together. Otherwise, he might just end up getting 4-0'd here.
There is a possibility of 4-0 at this point, but there was a commercial break. His coach is here. I'm sure some teammate is here.
Right, it looks like SOS is here talking to him a little bit.
Well, I mean, no one has a better mindset than him. Literally, maybe parting. SOS has the best mindset you can have in pro gaming. So that's a great person to talk to him, despite not being a Terran player. At this point, it's not about being a Terran player. It's about being a player.
Yeah.
And keeping your head on straight when TY is probably looking and feeling from Cure's side as this unstoppable monster.
Yeah, you look at someone like SOS, who played in that $100,000 match where, in the final game, he actually, did a proxy to win all the money. He's the type of person who will tell you exactly what build to use, when to use it, why to use it, and, tell you, no, you lost the first 2 games, those are, your weakest maps, or something like that, get into his head, make him feel like he's about to win this, not that he might go down 0-3.
Yeah.
That's what someone needs in a moment like this. We're going into Prion Terraces, which is going to be an interesting TBT map. One of our, I guess, a little bit smaller maps compared to our first 2.
Yeah, it definitely, it's a little bit smaller than those. Definitely has a little bit of a travel time still. I wonder, though, because Prion Terraces is such a wild map, a lot of the time you do see some cheese coming out from at least one side here.
Yeah, a lot of aggro possible, of course, with those extra minerals. Might even see a big timing push with extra barracks added from 1 or 2 of these players. More likely on the side of Cure. But hey, I mean, TY was the one in Game 2 who proxied to Starport and got endless damage done with the Banshee.
Yeah. Well, TY mixing up his play just amazingly. He's in such good shape. If he doesn't win a championship this year, will he ever, having been a pro for this long?
I feel like this is his time.
Well, it's definitely his time. Whether he wins or not, I will not forget what TY has played like
I feel like when you look at these two players, it's like both of them will likely face Zest in the finals, right? I mean, that's kind of the way we're looking at the round of 4 right now.
Feels that way.
I don't even know which one I would favor versus Zest. Anyways, like it's totally different matchups, totally different ideas. Like,
yeah, TY versus Zest, I think, is a tough one because
they're teammates, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, they're teammates, so it becomes like very mind game oriented. They both know how each other plays much better. So I don't know who to give an edge there to because of that. You know, the thing is, Zest's play, there's nothing tricky about it. He just is like, oh, look at me, I'm perfect. So I don't know, man. But definitely when Cure played against Zest, should have won game 2, and game 1 shouldn't have lost where he lost. So like he's already shown that he's actually like on the level where maybe he could take a game off Zest in TVP. Who knows?
He makes Zest look mortal for sure, in a way.
Yeah.
I think this map, we're going to Prawn Terraces. Yeah, it's a weird map. Cure like needs to win this map. I feel like if he doesn't win this map, it's like he loses 2 maps and the series is over. Like from what we saw from the change mentality from game 1 to game 2, yeah, he's had a time for SOS to talk to him. You know, he has his coach here as well. You had a little bit of a break time to like gather his thoughts and get ready for what may be a really cool build coming out from him here. But I mean, if he loses again, it's like another blow. And TY looks like he's not phased by any of these games. You know.
No, totally. TY is as cool as a cucumber. And you're right. If Cure wins here, I mean, if Cure loses here, he's done. You know, reverse sweeps can't happen. In fact, in the finals of the preseason, Myungshik reverse swept TY when it came down to it.
Zest reverse sweeped Parting, I think, or maybe it was the other way around on one of the GSL global tournaments we had, like last year or the year before.
Sulky reverse swept Innovation in the finals. Like, these things can happen, but in a mirror matchup, going to be a lot harder than some of these other matchups where you can't just beast mode the mirror matchup. Like, at the end of the day, he still has siege tanks. He's going to take a game.
It's really, really tough to do, especially because in a mirror matchup, there's so many builders that you can just win a game with. And so, like, you have to put that, like, you have to play so safe, and then your opponent can play greedy. It's tough. When you're 1 loss away from losing everything, you have to play 1,000 times better than what you did in the first 3 games.
So true. Here we are, Wolf. Looks like it is just about time. Holy crap, our music has been epic today.
Yes, it has, Artosis. Let's go into Prawn Terraces and hope the game that we jump into is just as epic.
In the bottom right, fighting for his tournament life. It's not match point, but it's close.
He needs a win here badly to
Truly
keep him afloat. And his opponent in red to the top of the map, up 2-0 so far. It's like a mafia boss in that picture who like got woken up at 4 a.m. because there was a problem.
Gotcha.
He's like, boss, we got a problem too. I was like, oh.
That's why he makes the big bucks. Yeah, okay. So, we actually have both players opening with tech builds. Oh, look at that.
No gaming, shout-outs to them.
I'm sure that Funk is going crazy right now. Wow, it's no gaming sign. Yeah, they're both opening up tech openings here. So definitely this is something that Cure could end up taking. Let's see what tech roads they actually go down.
Cure is also scouting. And because there's no wall off here, he will get into the main base. So he's going to see that right away at the beginning here.
TY scouted there as well. And a Reaper is being made for Cure. So that's going to be slightly more scouting going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them can see, okay, we both have 2 gases. I don't think a command center is coming down after the factory.
That's true. And, like, sometimes we see when this happens, like, one player will go for a Cyclone because they're like, all right, well, I'm just going to catch whatever you're throwing at me and turn it around on you. Or even a Raven coming out. That was like what Maru did for a while whenever he scouted this in Heart of the Swarm. He was like always going for the Raven. Whatever he had planned originally, he's like, oh, well, if you're doing the same thing, I'm not going to try to Banshee versus Banshee you. I'm not going to go Viking. I'm going to go straight Raven. TY is going to build the starport on the tech lab, so he's going to have a really fast starport here. So I think he will actually commit to the tech because he's committed so much to even how he's building this. And maybe Cure will actually take the more defensive option here, potentially.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to, but, you know.
Well, kind of neat. We see here 2 Reapers popping out for Cure. Whereas TY, you know, he is making a Reaper of his own. It looks like we are going to have some pressure up that front ramp. This is kind of like a... this is something that we've actually seen before out of Cure, is this kind of like, you know...
Yeah.
Reaper Hellion.
I'm just so flabbergasted that he moved commanded past the SCV. Like, the SCV almost blocked the landing there. And now he shows like he was trying to trick him into stim or something. I don't think TY's going to believe that for a second. And starts a Raven. So he's going to take the defensive option, whereas TY will commit.
You know, I generally do like going for the Banshee instead of the Raven, right? Like,
more utility later on in the game, just like we saw last game. So much done with the cloak from TY, like killing siege tanks and stuff like that.
And don't forget, like, you are the one trying to put on the damage. You're the one giving yourself an opportunity to get ahead. Getting ahead for Cure would be killing the Banshee without losing too much.
Exactly.
Which is, you know, a little bit different. Like, yes, that gives you some sort of advantage, but anyways, what I'm saying is I like where TY's at right here.
Yeah, I feel like when you defend this, it's almost like you take what's being thrown at you, catch it, and you just like you like burn TY's money or something. Like it's not going to put you ahead. It's just going to like, you know, give you an advantage, give you an edge.
That was kind of bad.
Yeah.
That was a nice grenade thrown down and everything, and picking off that Hellion is actually kind of a big deal.
Well, this Raven is out, but what does he have to shoot? The Cyclone only, and.
Oh my god!
He's actually going to keep the lock on?
Oh my god, that was I thought for sure he was going to be out of lock on range.
Wow, that was really nice. And that is, I mean,
well, that is the advantage for Cure.
Sure. Back at home, TY started his own Raven, so he's building energy on that, but he also got, or is getting a second Banshee. This is a great scout for Cure. Going to see the exact moment that the CC goes up. Also going to see that there's a Raven, so no second Banshee to worry about right now. And so he can just immediately lift that CC down. And he's adding additional barracks, as I was talking about before. I think, you know, adding extra barracks is smart on this map because you're going to have more money than you normally do.
Definitely. You know, some of these builds that are really good on other maps where you just keep making tech units and like expand again and then go Marines later aren't going to be quite as strong against a player who is going to dedicate, let's say, to 2 base, which it looks like Kira is doing one of these builds. You know, 1 eBay, plenty of barracks. He's going to have the power here off of just the 2 command centers where he has a ton of Marines, and if TY does something like try to take a 3rd, I don't think that's going to work out for him.
Yeah, it's very risky. At the very least, he'll have to keep it in his main or his natural for a while because the large amount of Marine pressure that comes out from that is just too powerful to contain until you have enough siege tanks. Now, this delayed Banshee is pretty cool. Now, he could actually wait until Cure doesn't move out before he sends it in. That's something he could definitely consider doing here, just because Cure knows there's Banshee tech, and he is at home right now, and we'll be able to defend this pretty easily. I'd like to see that, and TY has shown us stuff like that in the past with drops. And looks like in the minimap he is going to wait. So I think this is a very smart choice with that Banshee.
All right, well, it looks like, you know, right now, definitely like where Cure is at in a lot of ways. He's getting that stim a lot quicker. Already has +1 attack on the way, and again, you know, the minerals are just, they flow in on this map like crazy. So to have those extra Marines is pretty awesome. And I'm hoping, man, I don't really want to see a 4-0. As epic as that would be for TY, like
only Sojung wants to see that.
Yeah. I don't know why she hates Cure so much.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. But I feel like, you know, TY doesn't quite know about this yet. Like, he's trying to figure this out. But if he moves out and tries to do his own pressure, he's going to be overwhelmed because Cure just simply has more. We'll see. He still has that Banshee down there threatening as well to the south.
Looks like he does want to poke in for now. Stim is kind of like the scariest thing going on. A couple scans going down, seeing what each other has. Definitely got to look at that Viking count. That can be something that gets out of hand. Look at this. Beautiful play by TY.
So this is what he was trying to force. Yeah. He's like, meet me in the middle of the map. Banshee's coming in the back door. Cyclone alone will come back and push us away, but still 4 SCVs killed. And every single SCV counts on this map.
Yeah, and look, I love this Banshee play. The fact that TY just moves his army out knowing what his opponent must do as a good player. It's so awesome. Look at this. He's waiting for this to come. He's up a Viking.
Yep.
Just awesome play.
Kills the Raven, which will save the Banshee. And now he's going to win this Viking war. He kills it 4-0. The Banshee will kill the Viking on the ground.
This is like, dude, like TY, okay.
He escapes here.
Like he has such an understanding of the way people have to move, right? Moves out his army. Army comes up for Cure to make sure Army can't do anything to Cure. Banshee goes in. Flying units fly back to deal with Banshee that he leaves on a depot. Obvious, well, not obvious,
Pretty
but
big
it's
bait.
a bait.
Yeah.
It's a huge bait. It is a bait which shows quite a bit of mastery, and like for him to fly over with his Vikings and be ready with like the additional Viking and the very quick PDD, it's like insane. Like
so the understanding is like crazy. He's also going to catch reinforcing Medivacs because guess what? He knows Cure is all in. Cure is basically all in. Like
he knows they're going to go on. Like he's just ready for everything. He's so smart.
He already has tanks set up. He has one of those safety tanks, actually even having 2 that you were talking about, those forward tanks he likes to use. And, you know, Cure is like, man, I can't find anything here. He knows that having those Vikings for killing reinforcing Medivacs initially is better, but now that the push is getting close to his base, he sends them back for air control, which in just a few seconds is going to become important as he starts to lift up and move forward. And those Vikings are going to make it so these tanks got to be on the ground faster. And look at this, even using the Banshee to delay a third. He's like, if you weren't all in before, I'm really trying to push it.
Man, it's some great play. He is going to back up here. Here we go. Cure is pushing forward.
He's going to try to break up a ramp into siege tanks with a better marine count, but SCV's come up the line. He's got a concave at the top of the ramp, and TY will hold this.
All right, holds it for the time being right now. Definitely has a lot more army supply than his opponent. Cure has, I guess, the map presence, the map control right now, but TY doesn't really mind that much. Like we saw in game number 1, that was not a big issue for him to deal with.
He's going to lift his CC down. And I think during all of this, Cure was under the impression that TY did have a third CC. He did not, and that's why he attacked there. Banshee will delay this base even further. I don't even want to know how many kills that Banshee has. Like how much money worth of damage is done. 7 kills and so much pressure, plus the air battle that we talked about before. TY, after moving his CC down to the third base location, is going to start moving out to pressure. And again, this is, I think, further improving on what we saw his weakness versus Dream was, just the lack of confidence to move out when ahead. But we're seeing him today. He really knows, I'm ahead, I'm going to make this move work.
He's a player on 2 command centers who is now mining fully on 2 bases because he floated 1 down. So this is the time for him to move out and get something done before Cure finishes this 3rd command and catches back up.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because even though he's building that 3rd command center, his main's already basically mined out. So, like, Cure's economy is actually worse for the time being.
Yeah.
He needs that 3rd base, and he's going to deny this. Like, there's the lift. SCVs are stuck and caught.
And he gets it. And that's it. He kills that command center. Very, very painful. But as you said, he's basically mined out of both the other places, so...
Cure's going to try to get to these tanks, but he can't. Jeez. Like, TY is unbeatable. He is, like, he's alpha go right now. Like...
He's amazing in every way.
He's literally just, I almost want to say perfect, Artos. Just like he's playing perfectly.
He's not even, like, he's not Lisa at all. He's not Alpha Go. He's, what is it, KG? Chai, whatever.
Yeah, he's the best right now, man. And I'm not talking about the best for you because he's definitely not that.
His Banshee was a slightly better, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit better. He's doubling the army supply of Cure. If anyone had any doubts as to where this game is headed, it's, spoiler alert, 3-0 for TY. He's just going to simply move across the map and force this base to either be lifted and repositioned again, or he might just straight up kill it. TY is like, I don't think he even realizes how ahead he is right now. He's sent his whole army back to deal with 6 Marines, right? Like,
now this is going to sound stupid, but he either realizes, or rather, sorry, he either doesn't realize how far ahead he is, or he completely realizes it, which is why he's being slow and methodical.
You know, I mean, that makes sense, sort of.
Kind of, a little bit.
I see where you're going.
It sounded good.
I mean, if he waits around forever, I mean, Cure has replaced that 3rd CC, he's mining from it. And he has
he's getting
SCV lead.
too.
And yeah, exactly. That was the next thing I was going to say is, like, I don't think TY even has an armory. So, like, he needs to do something. He can't, like, he's like kind of just floating around the middle of the map doing nothing. This is a good move. He's going to finally find some damage here. He's going to kill that eBay.
Well,
which will stop the +2 attack.
This is what TY loves to do anyways, right? He's drawing him back somewhat and pushing forward during it. All right, here we go. He does have a huge stim in right now. The Siege Tanks of Kira actually getting insane value here, but
he just doesn't
it
have
doesn't
enough.
matter.
Yeah, there's just way too many Marines. He's half the supply of TY and Army. Just gets on top of those tanks, and that is going to be the end of Game 3. GG. TY getting like fangirl screams right now. I have not passed in such domination in the semis in so long.
Yeah.
Like this is, like he is just on another level. He's now 6-0 in TBTs in this tournament.
Dude, like he's just so good. He's what can we say beyond what we've said about like how intelligent and well played he is? Like this is the guy you want to study.
He's playing like a puppeteer. Like he's pulling all of Pure's strings right now.
He is.
Like he's forcing him to move into places where he shouldn't be, and he's got the next step set up to grab units, kill bases, force cancellations, killing SCVs. And I think he's about to make Cure walk the plank on Runes of Ceres.
That may be the case, but at this point, I want to see Cure just play with abandon, man. Like, forget everything that's happened. Give it your all, because no matter what, you're not going to look good today.
Right, that's well said. I feel like in the previous series with Dream, TY's worst map, like his weakest map, was Runes of Ceres.
Yeah.
Well, the weakness in his play that we pointed out last week is I feel like he has fixed a lot of it. Even watching these games, when he's ahead, he's really forcing the issues, forcing mistakes. When you have double the army supply of Cure, you can do a drop in the main, and if he sends any units, you're just going to absolutely dominate, destroy, annihilate.
Exactly. Like, even if you send 10 supply to deal with his 10 supply, percentage-wise, that's a way bigger deal for Cure to lose. So.
Like, he literally stimmed in to siege tanks that were sieged up because he was that far ahead. Like, this just doesn't happen. It's unheard of.
Well, you heard of it here first with TY and the GSL Codex, guys. This is the semifinal number 1. One of these guys, probably TY, is going to be going to the finals.
That's right. We're going into Ruins of Ceres, our biggest map here. Can Cure bring it back, or is TY going to win this and go to his very first finals? Let's find out right now, Artosis. The map is loaded, and it's time to jump into game number 4.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the top left, on match point. Can he do it? Can he win a game? I don't know.
Genial Green Wings, Cure.
Seems unlikely. Seems futile at this point. He looks, unfazed. That's a good sign. Although, as I say that, he puts out a big sigh.
Let's go, boy.
His opponent in red, the smartest Terran proclaimed by Artosis. He is known as
the one and only
KT Rolster, TY.
Yeah, no, I mean he's showing his level and his quality. Since Legacy of the Void dropped, he's looked like the smartest since the beginning. Still does. The only Terran that comes close is Maru, who's also absolutely brokenly fantastic. Like, literally only loses to Zest.
Maru,
and maybe TY, we don't know.
Maru is, he dropped out of both individual leagues early.
Yeah.
But as we go into, like, the summer season happening, coming up soon, like, that's when Maru has his chance to actually dominate. He's back in full form. So, like, even though Maru's not in this finals, like, he's still definitely one of the top Terrans. You said it really well earlier. It's like, if you pick one player from every race, like even if Maru isn't the one, he's still like basically tied with them. You know?
Yeah, he is. He really. It's this weird and funny thing that we've seen this before. Like this was the last set of best players in a somewhat developed metagame in Heart of the Swarm was 2 Terrans, Innovation Maru, and then Life Hero, right? And we're looking at it here, and it's like, okay, Zest Dark, and then TY Maru, and like these players are just like. I feel like they're bounds ahead right now of everyone. It's crazy.
They really are.
Like, it's hard to even, like, truly name the second best or third best in the case of Terran of these races. Because it's like, okay, I mean, there's a few guys that are really good right now.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at matchups like, oh, okay, well, like, Trap is fantastic at PVT right now, but, you know, his PVZ is a little bit below that, you know?
Sure, I feel like with a new expansion, this happens a lot where players' strengths in a matchup specifically, or their weaknesses, I should say, in a matchup can kind of really show. Even looking at Classic, like, he had such a problem with PVZ at the beginning of this. Like, he was not fielded in Pro League for so long. He just finally came back this week. We have Cloak, actually, this time from Cure. He wants to fight fire with fire, and he will scout this base of TY here, sees how early the CC is, and he's like, all right, you're greedy. I'm doing the aggro build. We're at horizontal spawns, so we're pretty close here. This is an opportunity. Like, this is the moment where he's got, like, the builder advantage to find damage, and he needs to do it. He's even walking a Widow Mine across the map as well.
Yeah, this is, I do like very much what I'm seeing here from Kira as far as the build order goes. This is going to give him maybe his best shot of the day at actually picking up a victory. Is expanding behind it, so it's not all in or anything. And this is, like, this build that I'm seeing here is much more what I expected out of him coming into today. Like, if you try your hardest to find as many Kira TBTs as you can, he does, like, you know, one base pressure, like a little bit more tech double gas type stuff into double command center behind it. So,
I completely agree. This Banshee is spotted by a Reaper, which is so important. Like, TY leaves no rock unturned. He already has a turret in the main and a Cyclone. I think what Kira is actually looking to accomplish is to bait these Marines into the Widow Mine. It's not close enough, though, and this turret finishes as well. Like, he is like the guy who will defend anything, and this, even with the greediest build at the best position possible on this map for the Banshee, he loses one mule. That is it.
Yeah.
That is all he lost there.
Very well dealt with there by TY. Very on the point with what's coming and how to defend that perfectly. But that doesn't mean that Cure is, like, dead or anything. Yeah, it kind of sucks that didn't do any damage. But look at what TY's had to do, right? He has a Cyclone that's not necessarily a good unit for attacking your opponent. You know, he's had to use a scan. He's built some turrets. Yeah. You know, in the meantime, Kira is getting double command centers, so his economy will be able to jump ahead a little bit. It's just the mid game, TY is going to be very scary during.
Absolutely. This Banshee, I'm not sure if TY actually scouted because he cloaked instantly when the medevac was in range, so he might not have seen the blip on the main map unless he was, like, really looking hard at that moment. Does find a few SCV kills, and they're actually even in workers. TY going for a counter drop, but Kira expecting this, having Siege Tank and 2 Marines in position. Even if he committed to the drop there, I don't think it would be worth it. Banshee does get cleaned up over here on the side of the map, but look at the units lost here. It's just, like, not been efficient for dead units for Cure. Like, you know, when you think about how much was actually killed, but buying turrets costs money, scans cost money. He's used 2 of them now. Stim around the same line here for both players. And you know what's interesting is Kira's actually using that reactor for, or you know, he was using it for Marines. I'm not entirely sure what happened there in the main now, but he doesn't reactor out Vikings this time. He's not actually